everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. Today on Porch Time Chat, been getting some comments, some private messages and different things from different people saying they just don't understand how it is that Wanda and I live on a homestead. We don't have a savings, we don't have a public job. They just don't understand how we make it. I'm just going to be honest, it's really not easy. We live by faith a lot of times, and I'll say this: the Lord has never let us down. We've never went hungry. We've never not had clothes. We've never not had a roof over our head. We busted our tail years ago to pay for everything that we owned. It is hard. I'm going to be honest about it. It's hard for somebody to say I'm going to just go out and start homesteading and live off the land, and I can tell you from experience, it's hard. I've been doing this now since 2009 without a job. There's been some times that was really iffy about whether or not we was going to be able to keep the power turned on, or if we was going to have gas to go to town or whatever. But because of this, Wanda and I have learned to adapt to this particular lifestyle. And the first thing we had to do, and y'all have heard me mention this in some of my previous chats and videos and stuff, is we cut out cable television. We don't have any cable. We just got 3 free channels, and 9 times out of 10 we don't even watch those. We got rid of the fancy phones. We don't have them anymore. The cell phones. We got a little track phone. That's all we keep. In case we get off on the road somewhere and break down, we don't do all this texting back and forth, and you know, we're just not doing all that. What little bit we do, we have 2 computers, and they're laptops. They're 3 to 10 years old. We managed to, what little bit I know about computers, we managed to get by with them. And you know, we just live a basic, simple life. We don't run our central heating in the house. In the wintertime, we got a little wood heater. We heat a few rooms in the house here, and we just sleep under a bunch of quilts at night during the wintertime. I mean, that's basically the way we are. People wonder about a power bill. What kind of power bill do we have? Well, our power bill, I don't mind being a little transparent. It ranges from $90 to about $150, somewhere in that area. If it goes over 150, we really panic. So these are just a couple of things. You know, we're not off grid. I don't want to be off grid. I mean, I'd love to be, but at my age, I don't see how it's going to be possible and pay for itself. So we're going to enjoy electricity till we don't have it. And it's kind of difficult to sit and talk about how we live, because it just seems normal to us now. We go to the grocery store once a month, twice if we just happen to absolutely have to have something. 2 trips to town a month is probably going to be the norm for us, because sometimes we'll run out of feed if we need a little bit of chicken feed to supplement our free ranging, or if I happen to run out of a bag. I mean, our pigs eat such a little amount of store-bought feed till it seems really weird. But our animals free range predominantly all the time. What chicken feed we buy, the eggs that we sell pays for the chicken feed, and so we don't have to worry about that. So that's not an expense coming out of our pocket. The pig feed, we usually sell our pigs, and we set back enough money for feed to get us by till the next batch of pigs come on and we're able to sell them. You know, I might do a little odd job for somebody and make a couple $100. That'll get us by for for 2 or 3 weeks usually. You know, like I said, we sell some things. We got people who will contact us on our YouTube channel and want to know if I'll make something for them and ship it to them, and I do that, and we make a little bit of money that way. We just found this out. I mean, when we set up our, this shows you about how we are with everything. When we set our channel up, we did the fan funding thing, and I never pay any attention to that, to be honest with you. I don't know that I never figured anybody would give me a dime for anything. And Wanda and I got to checking and looking, and we noticed we had 2 spikes. Once we figured out how to go to the analytics and look at everything, we figured out we had 2 spikes during that period, and we got to looking, and somebody had donated to us twice. Now, we didn't know we had to set up accounts and all that kind of stuff to get this money. I don't know who you were. I don't know how you go look and see who it was, and I don't know if it's even possible. But I just want to say thank you from the depths of my heart, because it allowed Wanda and I to be able to get a few things for our YouTube, to do our YouTube work with, that really is going to be a blessing to us. There's been a couple of people online that has mailed us some stuff that has helped us with being able to back up some of our movies and stuff, because our computers was becoming so clogged with everything, because we have probably over 100 videos in the making right now, and our computer was getting slowed down. We didn't realize that we was going to have to back everything up on hard drives, external hard drives, so we was able to do that. I want to say thank you for those that have helped out in that area, and it blesses our heart when someone thinks enough of us to actually do the fan funding, because basically in our minds we just didn't really think that it would ever happen. We just did it because it was part of the program to set up. And you know, for those of you who want to give, just know that our hearts are very appreciative of that, because it does help us tremendously when someone wants to give us a little bit of money to, because we mainly just spend it on stuff to make movies with. We don't, Wanda and I do not go out and eat. We haven't been out to eat in several years. First of all, I just don't see any sense in it, because the food you're getting is not really good to eat, and I can eat better at home. I've got a better quality of food to eat at home. It's going to be healthier food, and it keeps us from having to get out and bust our tail on a public job every day. We're able to spend time with one another here on the homestead. We work together. We work as a team. And that's something that both of us has been desiring in our entire life, is to have a spouse that we can sit down and function with and not argue and complain and throw a fit with one another and stuff like that. We find out that it's really necessary on a homestead to have a working relationship with one another. Like today, we decided we didn't have any beef because we don't have any cattle on our homestead. And predominantly what we've been eating for quite some time has been pork. And I told Wanda, I said, you know, rather than go buy stuff to eat this month for stocking up, because we have so much stuff stocked up, I told her, I says, today we're just going to go on a meat hunt for beef and just see what kind of deals we can come up with. And I'm going to show you a little short video about how the Lord blessed today when we prayed about it, and we went to town and we took a little bit of time to shop around. And in this little short video that you're going to see how that the Lord blessed us today.
Hey, today I want to show you, we went to town, and we always ask for blessings before we go to town on good deals. And today we got a meat blessing. We went to one of our local grocers, and they had some things that they had discounted. We hit it at the right time. Coming off the weekend, they do discount food and their meats. And we ended up with ground beef, 10 pounds. Let's see, I think I got 10 packs of ground beef. I saved right at $3 a pound, so that's $15 just on ground beef. I'm going to show you in a few minutes the other deals. But I put them in pound packages. Sometimes I weigh them, but I'm not particular about it being exact pounds. But the little dividers had pounds on, you know, one on each side. So we take and we put these in Ziploc bags when I come home. This is about a pound. I mash it out. We found this is the easiest way for it to thaw out. I hate waiting on ground beef to thaw, and if you have it in those big chunky packages, seems like it can take all day. In these Ziploc packages like this, and I mash it out really as thin as I can, and it gets the air out, plus they stack real well. I mean, you can see here, this is 4 packs, can stack. I'll lay them out in the freezer, let them freeze, and then I will stack them up, and they take less room in your freezer that way. 2, when I want some, I take this and I put a bowl with warm water, put this over in it, 15 minutes or so it's thawed out, where if it's stacked up in a big chunk like this, you can't hardly thaw that out for 2 or 3 hours. So just for an economy, the way to buy it, a good deal, just put it in there, mash it out. And each one of these, Danny and I'll get probably at least 2 meals out of each pack of this. When I thaw it out, I either make hamburgers, tacos, put it in spaghetti, whatever you use ground beef for, it doesn't matter, but it's easier and quicker to thaw out. Saves time in the long run. It takes a few minutes when you get home. You have all the air out, and they stack real well in your freezer. This right here was $111. I know it sounds like a lot, but when you only go to the grocery store once a month, and this meat will probably last us 2 months, maybe even longer. Some of it. The fish, we got $2 off the fish. We didn't even know that until we got to the counter. I packaged some of the smaller pieces this way. It was already frozen, so I just put it in Ziploc bags so that it makes it easier for me to get it out. That was 4 pounds of fish, but I saved $2. The ground beef, 10 packs, 10 pounds, I saved $15 on the ground beef. So that alone was really well worth it. The roast, we paid full price, okay? Cube steak, we saved a couple of dollars here. I use my sandwich bags, so I don't use my Ziploc bags, my good freezer bags. These are going to be supper tonight. I also did that with my ground beef. 1 pack of it's going to be lunch today, so that will go in the fridge for after a while. Stew meat, we saved $5 on stew meat. The stir fry, we've got 3 packs. We bought, I don't know, there's about 4 or 5 packs here. We saved about $4, $1 a pack on each one of these. And we'll use, I mean, that's like 3 meals right there for Danny and I. This is 2 more. This one's probably, looks like about 8 or 9 meals. So for $111, we've got enough food here, meat-wise, because we have all our veggies, and we have our pork, and we have our chicken. This adds some fish and some beef into it, and we just think God gave us a really good blessing today with this, because for $111, we would have spent about $150.
Now that you've seen the video, you see that it is possible for a person to go to town and get these particular types. These are not expensive cuts of meat. These are cuts of meat that can be used in a lot of different ways. Ground beef is one of the godsends for a homestead, because it can be used, it's like potatoes, it can be used in so many different ways, in so many different meals. The roast, we bought 1 roast because we can take a roast and cook it, and Wanda and I can eat on that roast for probably a week, you know, on and off. And the little thin steaks that we bought, most of that predominantly cut up into stir fries, because we love to do stir fries with fresh vegetables that we get off of our place here, because we eat in season. I don't know if y'all ever really done any kind of research on that, but eating in season is probably the healthiest thing you can do, and you have to teach yourself that just because you want something doesn't mean you have to have it. It depends on our homestead as what's growing at that particular time of the year. That's what we eat. If it's not growing and we don't have it canned, then there's a good possibility that we're not going to be eating it. We don't just, when we go to town, we don't just go to the grocery store and when we walk down an aisle we go, oh, I'd love to have this to eat this week. We don't do that. When we go to the grocery store, it's to pick up staple items. And then once in a this meat that we bought today on that video will probably last us for probably 3 months. And we won't have to buy meat again, beef that is. This is just some of the things that I want to throw out there because people keep saying there's no possible way that this can be done. And I have to differ with everybody. It can be done. It all depends on how much you're willing to sacrifice as an individual. The problem I run into with all the people that I talk to here in town and around where we live at, they're just not willing to sacrifice. Wanda and I, we don't drink soft drinks. We don't drink tea. Wanda gets a soft drink when we go to town. To her, that's her treat. If you come to our house right now and you look in our refrigerator, the only thing to drink in our refrigerator is water. That's all we have. We don't drink anything else here. We don't make tea. We don't buy drinks. We don't do Kool-Aid. We don't do all these things. Now, Wanda will drink a cup of coffee in the morning. I get up and make her coffee for her. I don't drink coffee personally. I used to, but I don't anymore. I've broke that habit. She's got a little small coffee pot that makes these little small cups of coffee, and she'll drink one in the morning, and that's it. We don't splurge on things like that. Now, as far as things like, people go, yeah, but what about body care products? What about all this kind of stuff? We don't buy a bunch of deodorants and stuff like that. We just use baking soda because I've learned that baking soda is all that you need. You don't need anything else. It works perfect. Some people use pink Himalayan salt. That works perfect. We don't, but I mean, I've talked to people who use that. And shampoos. We'll go, when we buy shampoo, we'll buy enough to probably last us 6 months to a year at one time. If we do a little job, make a little bit of extra money, we'll go to town and we'll take one trip. We buy things like shampoo. We'll buy razors. Our razors will last us anywhere between 3 and 6 months at one particular time. I don't buy a lot of shaving creams and stuff like that. I was raised and I was taught how to dry shave with water, just warm water. I've never used shaving cream. I don't have to have that kind of stuff. You know, it's our laundry detergent. Wanda spends about $25 a year on laundry detergent. And what it is, we go and we buy the washing sodas and the Fells Naphtha and stuff like that, the borax, and we make our own, and we can make a year's supply for about $25. Rather than going in there buying all these expensive, you know, Tides and Gains and all that kind of stuff that puts all these harsh chemicals back into your clothing and into your septic system and all that. We just don't do that. And then we raise a lot of herbs here. You know, people go, what kind of medicines do y'all take? Well, at this point in our life, Wanda and I don't take any medicine at all. Now, there's some things we should take medicine for, but we don't. We use herbs to treat as much stuff as we can. If we need an antibiotic, we try to use a colloidal silver, which you'll see a video coming out on that pretty soon about Wanda and how she makes it. You know, it can be done. It just depends on what you're willing to sacrifice. Because stop and think about it, people. If a life-changing event takes place and you can't go to town, you're not going to have that anyway. So stop and think about your forefathers, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Most of them didn't have electricity. Most of them didn't have a television. They didn't have a phone. They didn't have computers like we have. They didn't have a camera to sit in front of and talk like I'm talking. All they knew, they didn't have lights in the house. All they knew was a coal oil lantern, a fireplace in the house. They got up with the chickens. They went to bed with the chickens. Now, I'm not saying that we should go back to that type of lifestyle. But what I am saying is, don't be fooled by the conveniences in life and think that that's what God meant when He said in the Bible that I'll promise you that if you do and keep my commandments, that I will give you food, shelter, and clothing. That's the only things in the Bible that God promised us. It doesn't mean He's going to give you your wants. He's just going to give you what you need. And in living by faith like Wanda and I do on the homestead, it has taught us to lean and depend on God a lot more than what we used to. Because used to we depended on the almighty dollar, and now we depend on God. And God has never let us down. It's amazing how that when we have a need come up, that God always moves somebody to give us work, or He just makes a way for us to make it. He helps us to figure out how to do it. And for that, you know what? I give God all the glory for everything in my life. And I just wanted to just take this time to, you know, in this chat, throw this out there and just let y'all see how Wanda and I live and the ways that we get around everything. So if you like what you've seen today, just be sure to like, share it, and subscribe to us. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.